You're too scared to go. You're too scared to stay. You are stuck fighting love and the devil at the same time. You are attached to that person. There's a bond, and I think it's a trauma bond. Is the best word that I could come up for it. You see bits of good in that person. And so for some reason you hang on to that, and you don't see that all the time. It's mostly the abuse person that you have. It's not as much the things and the damage that he had done physically to me. Though knocking the teeth, it really hurts me because he took my smile. It's the mental mind game, the intentional twisting of somebody else's soul on purpose. I had already gone to the police department because of a violent situation, and there were no answers. They can't do anything unless you press charges. So you're kind of stuck in a juxtaposition where do you press charges and they don't pay attention to you, and then you go home and you face the ramifications of turning that person in? Or do you just stay in it and deal with it? I had tried so many different times to try to separate myself from that person, and they just kept coming back, and I couldn't heal. There was never enough time to really wrap around what was going on. The sign was there, so I knew that it had to do with some type of trauma for women and families. And so I went to get information, and it didn't have to be from a person. I just wanted pamphlets or something of what my next step would be should I decide to actually physically take myself away from that situation. I literally loaded up a truck. I told my son the day before, and I said, tomorrow morning, 7 o'clock. And he goes, are we sure? And I said, we're sure. And he goes, okay. That was how I got out. And then I went back to the courthouse to secure a protection order, which is where I met a legal advocate, which is where they found me, right back to that center, ironically. So it was kind of a weird way to get back to where I had already been, but it was very different that time around. And I was hurt. I was so grateful that day. I just was, because I sat in that chair and I just thought, okay, I can breathe. And it was the first time in that, by that time it had been 8 years, and just breathing. For me, it wasn't the end. It was almost like the beginning of what it was like. This is what happened, and here's my journey of where I'm going now. So it was forward. There was no going back. I was not going back there. And I always had her kind of re-guiding me back to where I needed to be. But I knew I had 11 cents and I had a long way to go. And I can look at what it was like. I can equate that to kind of looking in the rearview mirror of your car. Objects appear much closer than they are. And I don't drive backwards unless I'm trying to get away from something, because the windshield is so much bigger than the little tiny thing that is behind you. And it's not little and tiny when you were back there, but you don't drive around looking in your rearview mirror. You keep going forward. Once you meet one of these type of personalities, you kind of don't fear evil anymore. You don't fear that, because you've already lived with that. So you're okay to address a fear. There's going to be that fear there. And then, if you address it, then you can get past it and you can move on to the next level. And now I can put together back all the positive things in my life and not fear because the negative's going to come up. Just face it, get it over with, and move forward. The ones that choose not to get the help, I've seen what they look like at the hospital. I have a support animal. I intend to go into the hospital at some point with that animal, to be there and say, I'm standing here with you. Because I've been that person with the cracked open head, holding a bowl, bleeding into the bowl, and having that person sit next to me. And I can't say anything. And so I just want to be that person that's sitting there next to that mean person, thinking, I got this, and I'm here with her too, and you can't hurt her while I'm in here.